Excellent. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Sunday evening Zoom call for Wealth Warriors. My name's Andy Galloway, and it's Sunday, the 29th of March, 2026. We're going to do a little bit of a different thing tonight. I've announced it, so hopefully I will be able to turn the conversation in that direction. It's going to be a little bit different because what I'm beginning to realize about Wealth Warriors is no, rewind. Okay. When we first started Wealth Warriors, I was very aware of the fact that it was kind of experimental. We didn't really know what we were doing. We had a great idea, but we didn't really know how to implement it. We carried on making a few mistakes and this sort of thing. But that was 2 years ago. And so I've been kind of reluctant to push the Wealth Warriors side of what we're doing. Everybody wants to talk about the platforms. To me, the platforms are kind of irrelevant because the platforms we're using now, the platforms you're using now, probably won't be around in a few years' time. So the platforms are totally irrelevant to what we're doing. What we're doing is building a community. So I've been kind of not pushing that forward too much over the last couple of years. And I realized last week as I was giving the presentation, I was thinking, why am I being so kind of apologetic about that part of what we're doing? It's the mainstay of what we're trying to do. So why aren't I more forceful about Wealth Warriors, what it is and what it can mean for you, how it can really benefit your life? Because I believe now Wealth Warriors is a finished product. It's like the machine that makes the sausages. The sausages may change, okay, different recipes, different ingredients, whatever it is, okay, that may change, but the machine itself is pretty much as good as it's going to get. And so that's really what I'm going to talk about on these Sunday calls is the machine of Wealth Warriors. And it should be a machine that we can bring new people, put them into the system, and with a little bit of help and guidance, they will pop out the other end as a fully formed Wealth Warrior, knowing exactly what they're doing with this system. And you'll see in a minute why I'm keen about the system, because of the benefits. And we'll cover a whole slide in a minute about the benefits. So you'll understand why I'm getting a little bit more passionate about this. Like I said, I was reluctant to start with. I was hesitant, finding my way, but now it's a finished product. So I think it's time to say, let's just get on and do it. So I'm going to do a PowerPoint presentation. We may skip over some things because I want to kind of focus on the things I've just talked about. So here we are, financial freedom fighters, and that's the promise. So well, it's not really a promise, but that's what we're all looking for, is a flood of different forms of money coming into our wallets, coming into our bank account, whatever it is, okay, coming into our international grantor trusts, wherever it is we're collecting our money, and you know, if you had that much Bitcoin rain or that much crypto raining down on you, you'd be smiling as well. So that's kind of what we're aiming for. You know, the abundance that this industry can promise, but unless you know what you're doing, it's never ever going to deliver. And this is something the big dogs, the gurus, the big networkers, if you like, this is something they'll never tell you because they want you to fall into their system of get in early, put a lot of money in, build it fast, and when it goes bust, they don't care who gets hurt. They've made millions, and they'll quite happily say, I've made millions, I've made this many 100,000 in the last 2 years, whatever it is. Okay, all of that money came from somewhere else. So I'm very mindful of that when people tell me how much money they made. I'm thinking of how many people did it take to generate that much money for them to have those rewards. And you know, but nobody wants you to look under the hood. Nobody wants you to look under the bonnet. They just want you to look at all the shiny things and get involved. In fact, a lot of these business leaders tell me when we're discussing things, and they treat me as an equal, or they used to. I'm not sure they still will, but they used to treat me as an equal, and they'd say, so what we're trying to do here is sell greed. We tell them this and this and this, and people's natural greed takes over, and they put a lot of money in, and they do this and they do that, and then, you know, we all make a lot of money. And I'm not selling greed. I don't want you to come here with an attitude of greed. And in fact, an attitude of greed will be a hindrance to you. Now, we all have greed. If we didn't, then it wouldn't be one of the deadly sins. You know, you don't warn people off something they're not doing anyway. So we all have this tendency to be greedy, to grab whatever we can. But what I'm going to say is resist that urge. Okay, because it will not stand you in good stead when you're building a community. Nobody will want to get in your community if we are, or in my community, if we are displaying greed. Okay, so we've got to fight off this attitude of greed and turn it into an attitude of wanting to help other people achieve what they want. And again, so many business leaders say that. They tell you in their presentations that's what they're all about. And then when you've observed their actions, that's not what they're about at all. I was with a business leader a little while ago, and he had a number of people complaining. And so I watched this conversation evolve. And then after a while, it stopped. I said, "So what happened? You know, how did that?" He said, "I just booted them all out of my chat group." So, you know, so much for people first and money second. Okay, so there we go. I don't know how I got onto that. Maybe somebody watching this video or somebody in this room needed to hear some of that. If you did, you're welcome. And if you didn't, I apologize. Okay, nothing in this presentation is given as financial or investment advice. And Wealth Warriors is not an investment platform. We're a community. You can invest so we do promote platforms. And if you decide to get into any of those platforms, I would suggest only use money you can comfortably afford to lose and carry out your own due diligence. We may talk a little bit later about how to do this cross-platform strategizing to get you started so that you don't, cash in your pension fund and put it into a platform that we've got no control over. Take out a second mortgage on your house. They're all shortcuts to a divorce, losing your family, losing your kids, losing your pension. Okay, so we don't do that. There's no need to do that. I am a member of the management team for Veralio, but I'm not an employee or an agent of them or of any of the other platforms. I do a presentation once a week for one of the platforms here. They give me a little something for my time, but I'm not influenced by them. My top priority, my key focus is always on Wealth Warriors. Okay, so there's never a conflict of interest with any of these other platforms. If ever it turned out that there was a conflict of interest, then they would be gone. My heart and soul is for Wealth Warriors. Well, on this planet anyway. So why do we have to go to all the trouble of building something like Wealth Warriors? Why don't we just get into a platform, build it, make some money? Okay. And number one, of course, you're all aware of this. If you're not and you're out there doing things on your own, you will become aware of it very quickly. There are a lot of scams out there. And I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of businesses over the last 2 years, literally hundreds. And I would say probably about 98, 99% of them are scams. They're just flat out scams. You put your money in, you bring your friends in, they put some money in, you're earning good money because you brought your friends in, and then at some point in the future, the algorithm says to the owners of the company, "That's it, we've got enough money, let's shut up shop and go." We saw two of those this last week. People were absolutely nuts about two particular platforms. For the last 3, 4, 5 months, best thing since sliced bread. People calling me names because I said, "I don't like this, I'm not going to do it, it doesn't meet my criteria for the community." And besides which, at least one of them, possibly both of them, are scams. And so we avoided that. They both went bust in the last few days. One of them literally just did a huge promotion to get a load of money off of people and then shut the doors, took the money, ran, made no pretense of it. Okay, so even if you think is a well-known platform, people have been doing it for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, doesn't matter. If it's a scam, it's a scam. And it's run by an algorithm behind the scenes. When the two lines cross, bang, time to get out. There's no other option for that because they can't make the business work. When they go further than that, it means they've got less money coming in and more money going out. And therefore, they want to get out of it as quickly as they can before that gap becomes too big. They were actually better off last Tuesday than they are this week. So, as soon as those lines cross, then they're out of there. And there are a lot of them. So that's why we take the trouble to group together and find businesses that are not scams. Okay, now we're pretty good at it. We're not perfect. There are some really good scams out there. Some of them very, very sophisticated. So we do fall for them, but we don't put the whole farm in. We just test it out. If we're not sure, we test it out with a few $100s. If we lose a few $100, it's sad, but it's not the end of the road. Okay, and we don't encourage our people to put a lot of money in. We want businesses to prove themselves, and we want to be able to start small and build big. Okay, so yes, it's going to take us a few years. That's a far better option than putting everything in and losing it all. So the other option, or the other reason why we're doing something different, is because there are some businesses that aren't scams, but they're poorly run. I made a living out of teaching. I mean, for 30 years, I was a consultant teaching people how to run their businesses better. I used to run a company called, sorry, I didn't run the company. I was a director of a company called Fast Growth Limited, where we would do workshops with local business owners. We'd get 25 or 30 local CEOs in the UK. We call them managing directors. We get them all together in a room once a month, and we would go through and teach them how to do things better. Okay, so even in offline businesses, there are a lot of, and these were the successful businesses. Successful business owners are quite happy to say, I don't know everything, make me better. Okay, it's the people who think they know everything. They're the ones who go bust, go out of business in the first 5 years. And the same with the online businesses. Just because there's a nice, pretty platform and you know that you like the sound of what they're doing, it doesn't mean that behind the scenes it's being run properly. Very, very few businesses are. And so we identify those businesses, and then there are some businesses, whether they're good businesses, bad businesses, scams, or badly run or well run, it doesn't matter. Some businesses come to the attention of the regulators and government departments, and they just shut them down. Okay, so we try to avoid those. There are indicators that a company, so that an online platform will fall into that category. As soon as we see those indicators, then that's the end of the road. We don't get involved, because you see, we realize we don't have to get involved with every single platform. In fact, we don't want to get involved with every single platform. We only want to get involved with the platforms that we have a reasonable confidence they're going to succeed. And by succeed, I mean continue to provide an income for us for years. To me, that's success. So yeah, we haven't got to get into anything. If we turn one platform down and it's a good platform and people are making millions from it in next year, and we didn't get involved, that's fine. I don't mind. Okay, we haven't got to get into every business. And there's that pressure to get into good business, or sorry, to these businesses, early mover advantage, and this sort of absolute rubbish. That's not how businesses are built. That's not how successful businesses are built. The most successful companies in the world were not the first people into their industry. You see new businesses starting up now all the time. New insurance companies, new car dealerships, new computer companies, just new of everything. They're not the first in their industry, but they are still being successful. Okay, and there is a business principle, if you like, that says that you let other people go into an industry first. You let them find all the mistakes, and it becomes expensive for them to put the mistakes right. And then you come in later with a sleeker, faster, more inexpensive model to do what they're doing, but you've learned from their mistakes. I can't remember the name of that principle or that school of thought, but you don't have to be the first one in to make a lot of money from an industry. The fact is, it doesn't matter how much money you make in an online business. You can take all the money from all the platforms. If you haven't sorted out your freedom, then you'll never be free. You will still be in a cage. It'll just be a cage where you've got a lot of money. Okay, so we have a system for getting people free from the whole process, the whole government control, taxation control, financial institution control. Okay, get free, live your life free, and live an abundant life. So what can we do about it? Well, if we don't do something together, then we're just going to keep making the same old mistakes over and over again. The challenge is none of us we don't know what we don't know. So we can't possibly grow and improve because we don't know what we don't know. So we're just going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again. So we don't want to do that. So we get together and we avoid the pitfalls. I was looking at introducing a new banking system to Wealth Warriors based on the fact they've got a credit card or a prepaid debit card that you can load it up with your cryptocurrency and go and spend it. You can also send money from your bank to there and they convert it to cryptocurrency for you. So a nice, easy on-ramp, off-ramp. And I was talking with a bunch of Wealth Warriors, We had a little discussion about it. They said, yeah, we've used that, this particular part of the group, we've used that before, and they just started wiping out people's accounts. That's it. Just switch it off. No, you can't use this anymore. Okay, so now I'm rethinking that. I'm going to try and talk to the one of the directors of that company to find out what happened and what we can do to avoid it. Because if they can tell us why it happened, then we can help people avoid it in the future. But apart from that, collectively, we've learned not to use them because we're safer together. And what we want from safety is time. Without time, it's all meaningless. If we've got to get in fast, uh, put a lot of money in, get out quick. I don't want that life. I don't know anybody who does want that life. And I'll tell you why is because at some point you may do it successfully 3 or 4 times, but at some point you're going to get it wrong. And you're going to be, when the thing shuts down, then it takes all your money with you. And nobody wants to be in that position. So let's not get in that position. So what are the benefits? Why am I going on about building the community? Well, if we do it properly, one, we'll never lose all of our money to a scammer again. We might lose a few $100 here and there, but we'll never lose all of our money to a scammer again. I heard somebody the other day in a platform we were involved with, we're not involved with anymore. Somebody was saying, one of my guys put $1 million in there and then it just went bust. And that probably is that $1 million is probably what triggered the algorithm. They're probably watching the thing and then saying, so we've got a few more weeks of this, and then all of a sudden there's an extra $1 million, and they go, that's it, we're out of here. Thank you for the holiday fund. Okay. So we would never recommend anybody do anything that's stupid. If they did want to put $1 million in, then let's spread it across all the different platforms that we've got. That's a smart thing to do. Okay, so benefit two, you will protect your permanent network of contacts. Now, there are so many people that have been in this industry who introduce their friends lost money and they're no longer friends. They're not invited to Thanksgiving dinner anymore. They're not on the Christmas card list anymore. Okay, and you don't blame them because, you feel that you've let them down by dragging them into something where they lost money. Wouldn't it be a good thing to be able to protect your permanent network of contacts? And that's what we do. I'll show you how we do that. To me, that's one of the most important things because those people, there's a lot of people in this industry who just get into things on their own and they don't dare introduce other people because of this fear of their friends losing money. When they begin to realize that with Wealth Warriors, they don't need to fear that, then they start tentatively bringing a couple of people back and they see how that works and how it protects their network. And then people bring a few more people bring a few more people. So there's no rush to do that, but just be open to the fact that, yes, you might be here for the passive earning, and it's probably partly because you're fearful what will happen if you bring people in. So hopefully you'll begin to get a little bit more confidence with the Wealth Warrior system that you can introduce people and they're reasonably safe. Benefit three, excuse me. Benefit three, you will build future business faster and with far more profit. I'm going to show you a table in a minute that will show you how to do that. Benefit four, you will build one business and you'll grow all Wealth Warriors businesses. Now, I was talking to somebody earlier today. They've not heard of anything like this before. And I gave them an example of recent businesses they've been involved with. And they said, that's a genius idea. I said, I know, it's a great idea. So they've got a large number of people in their teams in different businesses. So we're going to talk about bringing them across a few at a time. Okay. Now you can't do a mass migration of a lot of people like that because you need to make sure that the first ones in get trained properly to bring the next ones in and train them properly and so on. But in the fullness of time, this guy will be earning money from 5 or 6 businesses when he actually only built one business with some of these people and a different business with some of the others. So that's a good way of doing it. Benefit 5, you'll start small and build big over a period of time. You'll never risk the farm. I've said that a few times now. Benefit 6, we have a system where if you've ever borrowed money, back to the age of 18, if ever you've had a contract where you borrowed money, whether it's a loan for a car, a loan for a house, a mortgage maybe, whatever loans you've had, you can recoup those. Whatever expenditure you've had from your bank account in the last 3 years, you can claim those back. Whatever mortgages you've had for the last 25 years, you can claim all that money back again. In fact, with mortgages, we claim back 3 times the face value of the mortgage. So you can do all that within the system we've set up. One of our platforms allows you to do that. Benefit 7, you can become free, wealthy, and live an abundant life. Okay, so where else are you being offered that? It's not just about making money. It's about making money in such a way that you can achieve your goals. If one of your goals is to pass your fortune on, your future fortune, on to future generations, you've got to be really clever how you do that. And we offer that as part of our system, as one of the platforms that we're involved with. But you've got to be clever, because the government will come in and take 40% as soon as you try and pass it on. Okay, and there are ways people will say, oh, you can get around it this way, you can reduce your tax liability by 10% here and this sort of thing. No, we just do away with all of it completely, entirely. Okay, you become free, you become wealthy, you live an abundant life. So we have some criteria for adopting platforms. One is it must be available everywhere. 2 is it must have a unilevel compensation plan. And 3, people must be able to join for free or get involved in a passive income program for a very low entry cost. Maybe I should have put criteria 4 in there, as the fact that we need to have a passive income earning potential. So we only ever want to do 2 things with our platforms. And again, people get upset with me, particularly my upline in some of these other platforms. They get upset with me because I say all I want to do is have the passive income from doing whatever it is you do to make money passively. And so do all my team want that. And we want to have the income from building a team, maybe a compensation plan, some different levels, different different titles along the way. We're not really interested in the titles along the way. We just want the money. Okay, you can keep your pins and your flowers and your pretty logos and things like that. I don't care about that. Just give us the money. That's all we're in it for. In that sense, we're not in it for the glory and the recognition, because that platform probably won't be there next year. So why get excited about it? Sorry, I've distracted myself. I did have a train of thought. Yeah, so we only want the passive income and we want the team building income. When they start introducing other things, like debit cards and I don't know, all sorts of other weird and wonderful things, not interested. That's all just noise. They're trying to build their ecosystem. Great, good luck with that. We're not interested in that. You know what? Well, we've got this product line and we've got this merchandise and everything. No, we're not interested. We want the passive, we want the team building. That's all we want to. And I'll tell you why we only want that, is because if you get involved in all of the different activities of all of the different platforms, it will become a job, most of which won't be there in 5, 6, 7 years' time. So you're just wasting your time and energy. That time and energy should be spent better shoring up your the number of people you've got in the existing platforms we've got, with the passive income and the team building income. Don't worry about all the fluff and nonsense, because it's just noise. So the reason we do 1, 2, and 3 is because the most important thing we can do is maintain lines of sponsorship across all platforms. So if somebody gets in with you, you introduce your brother in platform 1, then let him teach and train them a little bit about what you're doing there, then revealed in platform 2. If you reveal it to him, Wealth Warriors, we will tell him about platform 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so there's a number of different ways of what's the word? Propagating across different platforms. And you can take money you've earned from these 3 platforms to fund the 4th platform. Okay, and there's different strategies, different things we can do, but it's all about building a number of different platforms, not just one. Don't build one really well when you can build 5 just with the passive, just with the income, just with the team building, and make a lot of money from everything. Number 4 is it must be based on real world applications. We were involved in something a while ago that was to do with AI arbitrage, and what we looked at, the information given to us, we thought it was absolutely brilliant. We thought we were looking at the blockchain, and to a certain extent we were, but that didn't necessarily mean that the transactions the company were doing were involved in what we were seeing on the blockchain. And it turns out, in my opinion, I've not seen proof of this, but in my opinion, that wasn't the case. They were telling us one thing, they were showing us that thing, Okay, but in reality, they were not making money from what they were claiming to make money from. And the reason I say that is because they had to shut it down because they ran out of money. Well, if they were making the money they told us they were making, then they'd have had enough money to pay everyone. Okay, so it's easy to fall into things or fall for things that are not based on real world applications. But best, as far as we can tell, it's got to be based on real world applications. And no, we go into real world assets. That's different. Number 5, we must be able to verify the company's legal status if it's being run by a company. If not, then we want to see smart contracts in operation. Smart contracts that are operating and producing results. Number 6, there must be the opportunity to earn a passive income and an optional active or team building income. That's like a basic minimum. The compensation plan must be viable and sustainable, so not promising us the earth when we know they can't deliver the earth. Just promise what you can deliver and deliver it. That's all we ask. Nothing fancy. For many, many, many years as a consultant, I used to say to companies when they would come to me and say, we want to improve, I'd say, you can probably improve by about 25% just by doing what you say you're going to do. Let's knuckle down, look at what all your complaints are about, where you lose money, where things go wrong. We'll fix that first. And it's an easy fix. Okay, just do what you say you're going to do. That's all we want from these platforms. So imagine this is an assumption for for an illustration I'm going to show. So you have 100 people in your team in a platform, and you're making $2,000 per month. So sorry. Let's have a look at that. Let's have a look at that. So there we are. Platform 1, you've got 10 personal people. It doesn't have to be 10, but you've got a team of 100 people. And because of the way that platform is structured, you're making $2,000 per month. So now what we do is we say to those 10 people you've introduced, they say to the 100 people they've introduced, look, we have a second platform. So let's all get into that. So we have a system then for getting people involved in platform 2 in exactly the same position. And if platform 1 structure is similar to platform 2, then you make a second $2,000 in that second platform. And all of your personal people and all of your team people will they'll double their income just by us adopting platform 2 and then following some simple rules for how to onboard in platform 2. All of a sudden, you've doubled your income. And that might take you maybe to put 100 people in your team for platform 1. Let's say it takes you 3 months. Let's say it takes you 6 months. When you've got those people in place to get everybody into platform 2, because it's the first time they've done it, so they need to be coached by you, by me, whatever. Okay, to get them into platform 2 will take, I don't know, a month. So then we get platform 3 on board and we put the same people into the same positions in platform 3. So now platform 3 takes us about 2 days to build platform 3. And then platform 4 probably only takes us, I don't know, maybe 2 days, a day. And platform 5, we'll maybe do that on a Tuesday afternoon. So it gets easier and easier, and there's no reason why, as long as we don't get distracted by all this other noise that these platforms make, if we just focus on the core things we want to do, there's no reason why we can't have 25 platforms where we put the same people in the same slots 25 times over, earn from all of them, and still have enough free time to live our own lives. If you get involved in too much stuff with all these platforms, you won't have a life, you'll just have a job. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. We're freedom fighters. We're not job fighters. Okay. So that's why we slim it down. We keep focused on what we're doing. We have a mission, we have a purpose, and we focus on that firmly. So let's suppose there's a disaster. Let's suppose the person running platform 4 has a problem. Maybe he doesn't want to do it anymore. Okay, so it's a poorly run business and he thinks, oh, I'm getting too old for this rubbish. I'm going to leave. Or maybe he gets shut down by the SEC, or maybe he dies and he's the only one who knows how to work it, and this sort of thing. Who knows what happens, but platform 4 goes. Now, let me point out what's happened here. You've still got the same 10 people, but you're just in 4 platforms. You're not in 5. So you still have the same 10 people. So they don't hate you for the fact they might have lost some money in platform 4. because they're earning money in 4 other platforms. They don't take you off the Christmas card list. They still invite you to Thanksgiving. In fact, you're probably one of their favorite people because you're helping them make money in 4 different platforms. Okay. Your income doesn't disappear. You don't lose all that money. Yes, you lose it if you hadn't broken even in platform 4, that's gone. But your income only drops to $8,000 a month, not all the way down to 0. And then you have to start again with no people and no platform and no money of your own to put into something. Okay. So these are all safeguards. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go out and find platform 6. So platform 5 moves up, and platform 6, excuse me, platform 6 comes in, and we put the same 10 people in, we put the same 100 people in, and now we're back to making $10,000 per month. So if you don't understand how that works, don't worry about it, but that's the basic principle of what Wealth Warriors is all about. That's why we have the criteria, because without the criteria, we wouldn't be able to build this sort of structure. Without this sort of structure, you'll never have your freedom. So this illustration shows 4 things. One is the stability of your income. It's a reliable income stream because it's not dependent just on one platform. Stability of your network of people. The trust and friendship grows. It doesn't get destroyed every time the platform disappears. Okay. I'm not going to labor that anymore. I've said it a few times. The ability to build new platforms with lightning speed. Lightning speed being, you put 100 people into a brand new platform in about 3 days. That's pretty quick. Okay. But the same thing would happen if you had 1,000 people or 10,000 people. It would just take a little bit longer because you want to, those referral links have to promulgate all the way down through dozens or hundreds of layers of people. So, everybody needs to be on their A game. That's where the focus is. It's not on the platform. The focus is on get the referral link out, help people get started, help them move the money in, understand what they're buying, this sort of thing. Okay. It's a completely different focus from what you would do if you're just building one business and try to build it fast. The effort invested into your community today will be rewarded. So that's what we're doing. We're spending our time building a community. You're building your empire on solid rock, even if the individual platforms are built on sand, because platforms come and go. And it's impossible to realize the benefits without following the rules. And a lot of people really kick up about this rule. They really don't like it. And I don't blame you. I don't like it, but I don't like having all my time wasted by building a platform that leaves me high and dry over and over and over again. So do I like rules? No, I rebel against rules more than probably all of you put together. But, I'm prepared to pay that price. So rule number 1, do not sign up in any other platform that comes along. If it's a good platform, we will adopt it at some point. And I do despair when people introduce or they send me a platform and I say, so have you already joined this? They say yes. Because what they're thinking is they want to join it and then get me to join it, and then all the Wealth Warriors will join it. But what actually happens is, if they've been building their community within Wealth Warriors in 3 other platforms or 4 other platforms, and then suddenly in this 5th platform, they're not in the place they should be within the community, that starts to destroy the community. It destroys their community for sure. So I don't like to see people do that. I'd rather walk away from a platform and say, no, we're not going to do it, rather than watch somebody destroy their own platform because of this silly idea of early mover advantage. It's rubbish. It doesn't exist. Okay. It will destroy your community if you have that sort of mentality, that sort of attitude. And I know what you're thinking. You're disagreeing with me in your head. Disagree all you like, but I've seen it too many times for it to be a coincidence or for it to be something that I would embrace willingly. Okay, so don't sign up on other platforms. If they're good, bring them to, say, jump on a Zoom call. Let's have a look at this. Okay. But if you've already signed up in it, then that's a different type of call. You're not of a mindset to analyze it critically. What you're doing then is you're doing a recruitment on me, on Wealth Warriors. You're hoping, because you got in, you're hoping that we're all going to get into your group. Okay. I'm not likely to do that, to be honest. That's not the way I want this to be built. So by all means, find a platform and say, Andy, let's jump on a Zoom call. Let's look at this. And when I say, are you already in? You so and say, no, I'm going to bring my team in when Wealth Warriors adopt it. And then we can be critical. How does this work? Who does that? Where does that? What can we prove about that? Where are the records for this? Let's see the public records. Let's see the formation documents. Let's see their records. Let's see what type of organization they are. Let's see their premises. Okay, it's just all the things you won't do once you're in. You forget all about that. You go, I just want to make some money now that I'm in. Okay, so I labor that because I see it too many times and it's frustrating. I've walked away from platforms, some of which are actually good platforms, not quite right for Wealth Warriors, but just the very fact that somebody's introducing me to it and they're already in and they're in the Wealth Warriors team, I'm thinking, I don't want to destroy your business. And I know it would. I just know it would. So I kind of steer away from that. Bring me a platform that nobody's in yet, and then I will. We can look at it critically. So do sign up in all the platforms we adopt. And again, I see people come in there say, I love this Wealth Warriors thing. I'm going to sign up in that one. Okay. What's wrong with all the others? Well, I just like that one. I don't care what you like. Imagine having 1,000 people in your team. Would you want them to be in one platform with all their money tied up in one platform? Or would you want them to be in 5 platforms with 20% of their money tied up in 5 different platforms? Which would you rather? And if you understand what we're talking about, you'd rather have 5 platforms. Just get into all 5. You haven't got to do anything in the other 4. Just build the one you like. When you bring somebody into that, then tell them about the other 4 platforms. And it's highly likely somebody you bring into the one that you like won't really like that, but they'll like one of the others. So they'll go nuts building that one underneath you in that platform. And people they bring in will want to get into the platform you do like, or one of the others. Okay, so just be sensible, be smart, do sign up in all the platforms we adopt. Do maintain lines of sponsorship across all platforms. This destroys trust between people faster than anything. If people ever see, you suddenly sign up somebody from another group, or, you introduce person A introduces person B, then you take person B in another platform with you, that'll destroy your friendship with person A. Person B won't trust you because they know what you've done, and you're destroying your own community. So I'm a stickler for lines of sponsorship. Now, we do have a few platforms where we say these are not suitable for Wealth Warriors, but I like them. I'm going to do it anyway, but it's not part of Wealth Warriors. If you want a link for that, then either get in touch with the person who's your upline in Wealth Warriors, get their link. But if they're not getting in, by all means, go further up and get somebody else a link. We're not destroying lines of sponsorship in that sense because it's not part of Wealth Warriors. When that goes bust, it doesn't affect anything we're doing. So within Wealth Warriors, do maintain lines of sponsorship across all platforms. Do get your personally introduced people to do the same. This is the training they need about how to make sure their team get involved in all the different platforms. Okay, how to strategize across all the platforms, make some money there, put it over here, make some money there, put it over here, keep everything balanced out. Okay, and where their income comes from. It's not just about making money. So they want a little bit from there, a little bit from there, and so on. So that's the training people need. So get your people to do the same as you're doing. Do support your own people just by learning the basics about the platform. Just the how to register, how to get your funds in, what to do with your funds once they're in the platform, how to deposit, how to withdraw, how to sign up new people. That's pretty much all you need to know. You don't need to know all the ins and outs about all the platforms. You don't need to be an expert or a guru. So why do we have rules? If we all hate rules so much, why do we have them? Well, much as we hate rules, nothing gets achieved without rules. Okay, if you have a bunch of people, imagine an army where everybody just thought they were going to fight whoever they wanted in any way they felt fit, wherever and whenever they felt. You wouldn't have an army. You'd have just a bunch of crazy people running around killing people. So you've got to have rules. If you want to achieve something, you need rules. What we want is security of income. We want to build a permanent network and protect our permanent network, and we want to become wealthy and live an abundant life. So any plan you have, there are steps along the way of your plan, and part of the plan, each step has a different goal, a different objective, different resources maybe, a different understanding, requires a different mindset, requires different knowledge. Okay, and if we look at something like a travel plan, you have you have to do different things to get from your house to the train station, from the train station to the airport, from the airport to the next airport, from that airport to your hotel. Okay, they all require different things. So you need to know, you need to be clear on how to do all those different things. And that's called a strategy. You need a strategy to achieve all that. And that's what you need in building an online business. And most people never have a strategy. They just think it's good enough to get into a platform, put some money in, sit back and wait for the rewards. Well, that kind of is a strategy, but it's not a very good one and it rarely works. So what we do is we look after your community first. So if you look after your community first, your community will look after you forever. That's not an exaggeration, or maybe it is, okay, because there is no forever, not in this life anyway. But they'll look after you going forward, okay? And all you did is looked after your community, and your community will know whether you have their best interests at heart. And remember that the work required to build a single platform can be wasted over and over again. But the work required to build your community has a permanent benefit, and it pays over and over again. So do you want to have option one, time, money, and effort wasted over and over again, or time, money, and effort rewarded over and over and over again? The choice is yours. I can't remember, there was a TV program they used to say that. The choice is yours. So some of the platforms we're involved with, the Republic of Old Souls, this is a platform that will help you become free, both politically and financially, from the controls of government, taxation system, financial institutes, and so on. There are so many different parts to this. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but suffice to say, you can't be free without these guys. You can join this as a member for free, and so you can watch all the videos, read all the ebooks and so on, learn how it all works. They will not do the work for you, but they will show you what needs to be done. They will make the platform available for you to do it, but you have to do the work yourself, filling in information, uploading documents, that sort of thing. And then they will, behind the scenes, once you've done your bit of the work, they will liaise with the systems they need to in order for you to become free. Okay, so they've got 6 basic protocols. Infinite Money Protocol is the one that most of us start with, where we can recoup our bank accounts from the last 3 years. And of course, when you recoup your bank account money from, say, 2023, you receive that in about 5 or 6 months' time. Then you put it in your bank account then, and you spend it. In 2026, you spend that money. So in 2027, then you can recoup what you spend in 2026. Okay, so you can do that year after year after year. It is called an infinite money protocol. That's just one of the things that they can do for you or with you. BitNex is a great business. It's a DeFi staking program. Each contract costs $100. So you can take out a contract for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years for $100. Now you can buy a pack of 2-year and 3-year contracts where it costs $1,000 and you get 15 contracts. So you get 5 extra for free, which means that your spending money has increased by 50%. As soon as you do that, right on day one, bang, 50% increase in what you have working for you. Now, this is a clever system because they're not staking that $100. That $100 is a setup fee. So as soon as you put your $100 in, it's gone. There's nothing there for you to withdraw. But one of the things that $100 is going to do, or that smart contract is going to do, is arrange for you to borrow either, sorry, not you, the contract is going to borrow either $30,000 or $43,000, and that's the money that's going to go to work for you every day. That's how you make such great returns, because you haven't got $100 starting to go to work for you. You've got $30,000 going to work for you. And it's not your $30,000. Your contractor borrowed it from the bank. Now you have to pay bank interest every year. Then at the end of the contract period, you have to repay that. So all of that's covered by your profits. So typically, once you've paid all of your costs after the end of a 2-year contract, you get over $20,000. And after you've repaid all your costs after a 3-year contract, you'll receive over $35,000. I'm not going to tell you the 5 and 7 years because you'll think I'm trying to convince you, but it's a lot of money. So they're great platforms. Viralio. Now, again, I'm not going to labour Viralio. I said the other day that we're still having a few challenges with Viralio. I'm actually working closely with the company. We've identified what the problems are. Unfortunately, the problems I've identified will require a fairly significant, I don't want to say significant, rewrite of the code, a different way of looking at what the code's been doing up until now. So what the AI engine is doing, we call her Octavia, what she's doing is identifying trades with a lot of accuracy. She knows exactly which trades are going to be moving, maybe in the next 3 or 4 hours. Okay, the bit about how much to place, where to place it, which contracts to use, and so on and so forth. That's the bit that's a little bit not quite right. So we're basically holding her by the hand to guide her through that, but we need to make her learn what to do there. So when we're guiding her, we make some good returns, but the number of trades per day is reduced because we can't sit there and keep an eye on her 24 hours a day. So we need to get her doing that. But while we're there, we get good returns, and we're working on that. So if you can either set up Viralio to talk to your own Binance.com exchange account via API keys. Now, if you don't have access to that, then you can buy our TCT tokens, and the TCT tokens go up and down in value. And when they go up in value, and you say, well, now I've made, they're worth $100 more than when I bought them, I'm going to sell $100 worth of my TCT tokens. So that's how you make your money back through the TCT token system, where you don't have access to your own Binance account. eEstate, and again, a great business. It's involved in tokenized real estate. Tokenized real estate's been around for about 11 years now. The problem was that they would tokenize the property. So, I don't know how much to say about this because I could talk for like weeks about tokenized real estate. What we used to do in real estate is somebody would build a property and then they find a buyer with £20 million or dollars to buy that whole property. When they started tokenizing the property, they'd say, okay, we're going to convert this property, the real world asset, we're going to convert that to tokens, and then we're going to take all these tokens and go and find a buyer to buy all of these tokens. So it's kind of defeating the object, but nobody realized, the whole thing was kind of new, and real estate people, not really that keen on sharing properties with people. So it didn't really, there was no real structure, there was no real plan to what to do with these tokenized properties until eEstate came along and said, well, what this means we can do is we can sell 1,000 tokens to this guy and 500 tokens to this guy, 922.7 tokens to this guy, and so on. So collectively, we can all own the property, but we don't own the property, we own the tokens. The tokens are an online representation of the offline real-world asset. So that's what eEstate have been doing. They started about this time last year, and they really launched in the summer last year, and that's what they've been doing. They're tearing it up. They are leading the world in terms of tokenized real estate. I could go into all sorts of statistics about how many people they've got, how many countries they're involved in, and so on. But it's a lot. And there are now some other people that are involved in tokenized real estate trying to do the same sort of thing. That's great. We all want to be part of an industry that's being successful and growing. But eEstate are really leading the way on this. You can get involved in real estate for as little as $10. Now, you don't get a lot of real estate for that, but you're in. You get something. And so let's suppose you put, I don't know, $10,000 in, buy a bit of this property, a bit of that property, $10,000. You'll earn money every day, Monday to Friday, from that property, those properties, for 18 months. After 18 months, then you receive 10% per year for the next however many years till we get rid of the property. Then when we get rid of the property, you get your $10,000 back again. And there are some deals where that buyback period is built in. We had one the other day, before we even got to the 18-month period, they said, everybody who invested in this property, we're going to buy back your tokens. So you've had all this profit and then you get your money back. So the profit is like free money. And then we've had some where they say, well, we're going to give you all this profit, like 300% profit in 18 months. And then at the end of the 18 months, we're still going to give you $100,000 back. Okay, so there's some good deals to be had in estate. Beep Extra. So these are potential platforms now. Beep Extra is all about, I got involved in Beep Extra right, 13 years ago. And there's some people on the call tonight who also know about Beep Extra, also been involved. And what we're doing is building a parallel economy, a retail economy, and you can build it in your local area. And if you do that, you earn from building a network of shops, and a network of shops might just be 10 shops in your area. It's not really a network, it's just 10 shops. Those 10 shops have 10,000 customers maybe. And it's organized in such a way that those customers, wherever they spend anywhere in the world, you earn a percentage of what they spend. Those shops, whatever loyalty they give out to their customers, you receive a percentage of that loyalty. If those shops introduce more shops, and those shops introduce more customers, it all just adds to your income. Okay, and it's built on a system that means if everything else fails, this system will continue to work. So if anything goes wrong with the monetary system or the internet, anything like that, then your local stores that are part of this Beep Extra network can still survive and continue to operate and do business. Okay, so that's really why it was developed in the first place. There's a platform called U-Chain. U-Chain is to do with AI robots. So you lease an AI robot or a package, if you like, a license to trade. It doesn't matter what you call it, but you pay some money, and that gives you the right then to have this robot trade on your behalf. So you have you buy the robot and you have some money in a trading fund. Whichever robot you buy will give you a return on that trading fund. For example, 2.5 times, 3 times, 3.5 times, 4 times. Not 3.4 times, as it says on the slide there. That's a spelling mistake or typos. So, for example, if you start with a $1,100 robot, you put typically an £11,000 trading fund aside for that. Read euros. It's all running euros rather than pounds. And then that robot will trade until that 11,000 euros has been turned into 33,000 euros. Okay. So, it all makes money that way. But then once the robot's done that, then it's dead. You need to buy a new robot, which you'll be quite happy to do because you've just made a load of money from your trading. Okay, so that's U-Chain. And then there's Matrix Booster. Again, this is a platform that we don't promote as part of Wealth Warriors, but it's a great business. I'm involved. A number of you are involved. So I'll just spend a minute talking about it. It's a crowdfunding operation that returns your investment to you. All you need to do is recruit 2 people, and you get all of your money back again, plus a little bit of profit. If you recruit more than that, then you make more money. So it's not an opportunity really where people can just join, sit there and do nothing. Now, there are profits to be made from spillover. So your upline only needs 3 people. If they bring in 10 people, then those other 7 people have to go somewhere. Some of them might end up in your group, and if they do, you'll earn money from them as if you'd introduce them yourself. But you don't want to really just join something and sit there and wait for your upline to give you some spillover. Ideally, you want to get in this because you can bring 3 people in with you. Okay, so I'm just trying to be upfront with you. It's not really for those who just want a passive income. It's for those people who think I can do something where I can earn a huge amount of money from infinite cycling. So you can earn a lot of money from these cycles, recycling infinitely without further investment. Okay, and you're prepared to do so you're prepared to do something such as bring in 3 people because you want those ongoing cycling income. Okay. All of the above adopted platforms are programs for additional rewards for taking part in team building activities. It's optional. It doesn't affect your ability to earn passively from these platforms, but I'm hoping that you will If you're shy of introducing people, you'll see the benefits of introducing at least one person to one platform, and then we'll propagate them across 4 or 5 different platforms. And then when you see how well that works, you'll introduce somebody else, maybe do a different platform, and so on. Okay, so I'm hoping to break you out of your shell, your reluctance to introduce people, by the fact that as a community, we will protect and care and look after them. So our communications, we run a Telegram supergroup, so make sure you get added to that. We hold this Zoom call every Sunday at this time, so attend yourself and bring new people. Make sure your people attend. It's a shortcut to fast growth. I will promise you that you cannot describe Wealth Warriors to people. Their mindset has been fixed by either they know nothing, this is the very first thing they're looking at, they wouldn't understand why we're doing this, or they've been, I was going to say brainwashed, they've been educated, let's say, by just being involved in platforms without any sort of system, without any sort of idea of cohesion for the future. Okay, so they won't understand what you're talking about if you try to talk to them about Wealth Warriors. The best thing you can do is bring them to the Sunday Zoom call or send them a video like this. If you go back through the YouTube channel where you'll find this video, okay, any of the videos done on a Sunday will be suitable for a brand new person to look at. So let the video do the heavy lifting. I don't try and explain Wealth Warriors to people in person. It can't. I believe it can't be done. You might prove me wrong, but I believe it can't be done. I give people a video. So bring new people along to Wealth Warriors, because this is where the growth is going to be happening in the next 5 years. The platforms will come and go, but the growth in your community will be right here. Attend the Zoom calls of the platforms. When we see something about Zoom call for a platform, we put it in the Telegram group. For the Republic of Old Souls, join for free, work your way through the webinars and books at your own pace, and then try and get the first roadmap completed as soon as possible. You can then decide what you want, what you want to get involved with. You need to pay some money when you decide to follow one of the protocols. Although if you want to get involved in the Fortress, so the Asset Fortress protocol, right now you can get involved for free. So it's worth join the platform, give them a call, and discuss it with them. Get the referral links from all the platforms, from the person who invited you to this presentation. So you don't just want one referral link, you want all of them. Register in all the opportunities. Make a note of your referral links for each of the platforms, and then pass those links on to your existing frontline members. Make a minimum payment into all opportunities, and if you can't do that, just select the project that interests you the most. So if you've got $1,000, for example, you want to get involved in 4 platforms, then $250 in each one. But if you've only got $100 and the minimum on any of them is $100, then just choose the one you like, and eventually you'll be able to, even if you introduce people to the other platforms and you don't make money off them just yet, okay, don't worry about it. It's better to have them in and growing, and the commissioners bypass you, than you restrict people from getting involved in those platforms. Because when you have the money to fund that platform, all of a sudden you've got a team underneath you producing an income for you. Okay, so help them as if you have already funded the project, even if you haven't. It makes good sense. Don't worry about you, worry about them. Attend a Zoom call or watch the video for each platform. And as we add new platforms, then just do all of that, but quicker. Get the referral link from your upline. And I've had people phone me up, or I've seen people phone up and say, I can't get hold of this guy, I need his link. So I have to go and harass him, okay? So make sure and get the referral link from your upline as quickly as possible. Register, get your referral link and pass it on as quickly as possible, and then go and find out about the platforms. It's not ready, aim, fire. It's ready, fire, aim. Find out about the platform after you've registered. Face it, if you register and you don't pay any money, and then later you say, actually, I don't like that, or we decide we don't like it, well, there's no harm done, is there? You haven't paid with any money. So just don't be so reluctant. Try and develop this sense of trust within this community, because We're not going to do anything. We're after you for the long term. We want you to succeed long term, not just get you into something now that's not going to benefit you. We walk away from far more platforms than we adopt. So that should give you a clue about where our focus is. So then you grow your Wealth Warriors community by bringing more people to the Zoom calls. And here's the thing, you only have to promote one or two platforms, just the ones you like. Then you introduce them to Wealth Warriors and it'll cross-pollinate. I'm not going to go through this because we're running out of time a little bit. I will mention a little bit. The BitNext landing page, please ignore that for now. I've taken it to the people who made the landing page. If you send people to your landing page, then when they go to join now, they'll join up with somebody else. There's somebody else's number pre-programmed into that link. So don't send people to your landing page, just send people straight to your the link that you get from BitNext. Okay, that's your registration page. So send people there. If you want to be if you want to introduce people to e-estate, you need to be an agent, and you get your own free landing page in there. In Veralio, if you want to be an affiliate, you have to go into the affiliate program, click a button to say, "Let me be an affiliate." With Republic of All Souls, if you want to be an advocate, if you want to introduce people, you have to request to become an advocate. Okay, so it's not automatic. BitNext, you get a link as soon as you register. But the others, you have to request or do something else in order to get your referral link. There's marketing materials available. I'm not going to go through this. So this is the basics. We're building a solid foundation on which we can base our financial futures. No single platform can give us that solid foundation. Only a community can do that. We only work with companies that are in it for the long term, as far as we can tell. Of course, we do get fooled sometimes, and sometimes the business looks like it's well run, but it isn't. We're getting better at all of these things, but I won't put my hand up and say we're perfect. We may well lose a few $100s and a few more platforms going forward. Okay, it's just that's the price of that's the name of the game. That's the price of success. Okay, we only want two things. I've covered this a few times. We want a passive income and a team building income. Everything else is noise. And so many times we get distracted by the noise before we say, actually, no, I don't want that. I just want this. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, your upline might give you grief about not playing the game the way they want you to, but that's not how we do things. We build a large asset starting with a small asset, and we build bigger and bigger over time. We don't gamble the farm ever. Ever, ever. Only platforms that meet our criteria are considered, and we apply our rules to this industry to achieve our outcomes. This is really the basis of the whole thing about Wealth Warriors. We don't want to play by anybody else's rules. We don't really want to play by our own rules, but at least our rules are set up so that we win. Rules on a platform are set up so the company wins. Rules imposed by our upline are so that our upline wins. These rules are so that we win, our community wins, and therefore we win. Because we want what we want, not what somebody else is prepared to give us. We want to be in charge. We want to run our own lives. So finally, it's important to remain safe on the internet and in the world of online opportunities at all times. Do not share your password or other credentials with anyone. Where it's available, set up 2FA on your accounts. Back up your passwords and your 2FA codes in a secure location. Preferably write it down. Keep it somewhere safe. If you've got a safe, put it in the safe. Make sure the executors of your will, your living will, your power of attorney, or your beneficiaries have access to this information in the event of your incapacitation or death. Now, I was reminded a few days ago that I said that I would take the file that I'm preparing to meet this bit of information. I'm going to produce that and post it somewhere, and then you can just add in all your own account numbers and passwords and things like that, and print it off and keep it somewhere safe. I'm about halfway done with that, so apologies. I've got no excuse except I just keep running out of time every single day. So as soon as I've got that ready, I will publish it, and you'll see it in the Telegram group. So there we go. Wealth warriors, we are financial freedom fighters. We are after the rewards, but the way to get the rewards is through building a community. We don't get the rewards at the expense of the community. That would be crazy. So get back to the person who invited you on this call or referred you to this video. They're ready and waiting to help you avoid scams, protect your permanent network, and create immense personal wealth. With that, I'm going to stop the recording. Any second now. Stop the recording. And before I do that, I'm going to thank everyone for watching this video. Please share it to friends, neighbours, relatives, work colleagues, and so on. People who you think would be interested in this message about not being part of the Wild West, but become part of something structured, moving from where you are towards financial freedom and beyond, living an abundant life. And thank you for watching the video. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one.